Welcome,
So
everyone.
we,
Welcome. I think we are live. Yes, we are
yes,
live.
we are live.
So, welcome to Life Indeed, the podcast where we discuss about the life the way it is not. Sorry, my cell phone is on. So, welcome everyone. Hope all of you are doing great. This is a Saturday morning,
Yes,
and we are fully charged up to have another discussion on something very important that we have already announced on relationship. To give you the little bit background of Life Indeed podcast, this is going to be the 35th episode. My God. I mean, look, if I look back at the journey, me and Piyush, when we started about it, it's been like almost 4 5 months, in fact, more than that.
more
And
than
we are
that.
doing it every week. And, couple of weeks of misses, which is, of course, something which was undeniable, but we have been doing it continuously and getting a lot of support from all of the people, got amazing guests. So at Life
Absolutely.
Indeed podcast, we believe in discussing about those facts, those experiences which people hesitate to discuss in public. We always talk about our vulnerabilities, we talk about our inferiority complex, and we talk about failures that actually teaches us a lot of things. So, in the last episode, me and Piyush were actually honored to have one of our relationship coach, parent coach, of course, Nasru Panjwani, and he has talked about some of the important facts of your kids' relationship or your relationship with your own parents, and I think it was the very first time that I have encountered a person who is actually coaching, you know, the parent, the kids and the people to have a greater relationship with their parents. I before this, I think I never heard about it. So thanks to Piyush actually for bringing him on the show and talking about one of the very sensitive thing that people actually hesitate to discuss about. They don't even talk about their
True.
relationship with their parents with anyone else because they might feel that others will judge when they will talk about that they don't even have a good relationship with their parents. So
Right.
it was very special for me, to be honest, and it actually caused me to think that why not we go ahead and discuss about the same thing and the overall aspect of relationship with ourselves with others on this Q&A show, and at the same time we would like to take your questions as well. So
Absolutely.
I would like to invite my amazing co-host Piyush Patel to go ahead and throw some light onto this and what is the agenda and what's the plan for today. So over to you, Piyush.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tausif. Thanks a lot for, as always, wonderful introduction about Life Indeed podcast. And as you already mentioned that last week we had a really, I will say amazing as well as very emotional discussion around parenting and how you can re-establish your relationship with your parents. And it was an episode especially for adults. It was not
Hmm.
about that how you can re-establish your relationship with your kids. It was
Right.
about how you can re-establish your relationship with
With
your
your parents.
parents. So it was for an adult actually, which was a very, hardly somebody have talked about that particular topic. And we discussed a lot of things, I mean. And one of our from our audience, somebody messaged on that live episode, because he must have realized, he must have gone through that flood of emotions. And he literally messaged that he got tears, because
Yeah.
relationship is something very close to your heart. And especially
True.
as human beings, we just cannot survive without relationships. And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, we have stopped discussing about relationships. We have stopped communicating about relationships. And as you already mentioned, that Life Indeed is a platform where we want to bring such kind of topics where people are not talking, where people are not communicating, where people are not discussing. So today's
True.
episode is dedicatedly going to be an episode where we are going to talk about various types of relationships, importance of those relationships, and how you can develop, how you can maintain, and what are the things which you should take into consideration. Of course, we are not expert. We are definitely going to talk, we are definitely going to discuss with respect to our own life experiences. As you know, the podcast name is Life Indeed, where we discuss life the way it is not. So, Tosif, what do you think? From your perspective, what is the importance of relationship?
I think when you said that it is one of the things that is least discussed, in our families, in society, because people think they have this limiting belief or maybe that mindset that this is something which should be hidden. This is something which should be kept secret, and
With something personal, I think. Say most
personal,
of the
something
people believe
personal.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But in that race of keeping this as a secret, we don't even talk about it with our loved ones, and we are actually conditioned from our childhood to keep it as secret as possible. And by the time we become adult, we are hardwired to not to even discuss about it, and keep thinking about it, even if it is nagging you even if it is a negative self chatter which is going on in your mind. You don't have a good relationship with your spouse, with your parents. It keeps eating you from inside, but you are conditioned fully not to discuss with anyone. And I think that is the irony. When you speak your heart out, when you pour your heart out, so you feel relaxed, because ultimately, we all are made up of emotions. We,
right.
unlike animals, unlike trees, we have emotions. Humans have emotions. And if we don't express our emotions, it is highly likely that we will, I mean, it is going to cause a lot of pain and stress and anxiety on our body that will reflect on our face as well.
True.
So if we pour those emotions out, we will feel relaxed, we will feel light, and the consequence of you pouring those emotions out will, what will happen at the end? It will actually let the other person know what you feel about him, and
Right.
what do you think about him, and only then the other person will be able to express, okay, if you this is
True.
the way you feel about it, this is what we can do. The
Correct.
the most fundamental, the beautiful part of having a relationship with anyone is like discussing, having the open conversations and finding a common ground. Because if
Correct.
you judge someone, because just as Nasrullah in the last episode talked about that, people actually form a judgment about about their parents. Okay, they are not going to mend their ways, they're going to be the same. So it is better to accept it. It is better to accept it, or rather have an open conversation and talk your heart out.
Right.
So, you know, as you said that hiding your emotions, or controlling and keeping them as a secret, sometime may not be able to help you and may not
Right.
benefit you, because the other person would not even know what you're thinking, what you're how you're feeling. So, would you
But
like to add to onto this,
yeah,
Piyush?
definitely. So here I would love to know your opinion, your perspective. So just yesterday only I was having a conversation with someone, and he said something which I would love to bring. I'll not be able to take his name, but
Hmm.
he was saying that, I have emotions. I feel for my relation, like with my the relationship with my brother, the relationship with my parents, even the relationship with his fiance, like he's
Hmm.
about to marry. But
Hmm.
he said that I'm not comfortable talking about my relationship. I'm not comfortable
Hmm.
expressing my emotions, whichever is there within me, whether it is about
Hmm.
my brother, parents, or my fiance. I'm not comfortable. I feel like it is showing off. You know
Hmm.
that I cannot tell
Hmm.
them. I cannot express my
It's again a
emotions
limiting belief.
in words actually. So
Hmm.
in words, I don't want to express in words. So that is where he was not comfortable.
It's
So
just
what do you think?
like what was the last time you said "I love you" to your parents?
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm. So I mean,
And when, yeah.
you make complete, Piyush.
So what do you
I
think? I
had
mean,
perspective. Yeah.
what do you think? Like, why people have this kind of perception, or why people think? And in fact, it brings a major like picture is most of the people. This is what I believe, that most of the people are not having good relationships because they are not expressing themselves, because they are
Correct.
not letting other people, other person that how much I love you, how much I care for
Hmm.
you, how much I want to do something for you.
Absolutely.
Until unless you are not telling someone, how that person will be able to understand? Okay, you have emotions, it's okay that you have feelings, but then you have to let your emotions out. You have to let other person know that what are your feelings about that person. In fact, in my personal life, I have gone through the same kind of phase, and
Hmm.
very slowly I have worked upon myself, and today I'm able to express my emotions.
Hmm. I'm
So
not
even
immune to it,
I
Piyush.
was, yeah, exactly. Nobody is immune to that. But why exactly it happened? Like, what do you think?
So I think, Piyush, it's a very relevant thing when you said that people actually hardly express themselves, hardly express their emotions. So before I basically discuss about it, I would like to take a comment from Vishaka, who has joined us. Agreed, Tausif, and sharing emotions with your favorite person is the best feeling ever. You feel relaxed and calm. I think that's the
Absolutely
right way, because you need to have somebody in your life who actually can listen to you without judging you. And
true.
thank you so much, Vishaka, for joining. So, Piyush, I was actually coaching one of a lady, and she roughly would be 45 or 40 to 45, had a kid, had an husband, and had a crumbling relationship with his husband, with his father, with his son. And so now she contacted me over social media. She messaged me, Tausif, I saw your videos on YouTube, and some of the videos actually touched my heart. I said, okay, I really appreciate you, that you have watched my videos. And then she slowly and gradually she started talking about, I asked her what she does, and then slowly and gradually, and after roughly around 1.5 months, she said that I want to talk to you. I said, okay, fine. So in the first discussion, she spoke about her professional life, that what was her relationship with her boss, and it was not very good, and some of the things were not going in her way. So I coached her, like how I coached her on how to take better decisions in life, and she was convinced. And she was connected with me on WhatsApp, keep talking to me more often than not, commenting on my post, sometime messaging about well-being. And then roughly around after 2.5 months, she one day messaged us, "If can I talk to you? I just want to talk. I mean, I feel that I can discuss something with you, and I feel that I can be open with you a little, and I hope you would not mind." I said, "Okay, fine. You can come on the call with me." She came on the call with me, and she said, "Tasif, uh, I don't have a very good relationship with my family. I mean, I don't know why, but my husband doesn't like me. My kid doesn't like me. Even sometime when I complain about them with my father doesn't like it. So I feel all alone, and I feel like suiciding, and a lot of negative thoughts she had. And so when I spoke about it, like I tried to understand her situation, like what has happened in the past, like when did she get married, and what has happened, what kind of a relationship she had when she actually entered into a relationship. And she spoke about everything at length. And I figured out that due to the self obsession of having this idea that I'm not worthy, because it was not the problem that her husband, her kid, or her father was not liking her. It was a problem with her only, with her self image only. And she never spoke about it with anyone in her life. That is what I was able to figure out, and I was the only person she spoke about, and she actually expressed herself. And I realized in the next session, when I actually coached her, when I talked about certain things, Mike's life experiences, and gave her some of the tools to actually how to treat yourself, like how to value yourself, how to increase your self-worth. And when she spoke at length about everything, she felt very light. She said, Tosif, you're the first person I have expressed everything about my relationship, how it is going, and how you gave me the tips, how can I improve it, and I'm feeling very light. And not only that, I had like 3 4 discussions with her, and she gave me the feedback that now my even kid says that. So actually what the main fundamental problem was, that she was actually seeking attention all the time. And she was an attention seeker, an obsessive attention seeker. you know my nanaji used to say that, kick the world will kiss you, and kiss the world will kick you. So I told her that You don't have to be an attention seeker. You need to give your attention. You need to be an attention giver, and you need to value yourself. You're not mean. So I mean, after having those sessions, she was so motivated that she started having a good relationship with his husband, with his kid, with all of his everybody around her. And she started inviting all of the friends, and she said, Tosif, even I have mentioned about you with my friends in, in the vicinity and all. She started posting on social media. Today I see that she is really, she's really expressive. And she said that
That's
one day
what.
she messaged me a message, such a big message at length, that she had a very open conversation with her husband.
That's
And
what.
she so the one thing that I could figure out is, like, at times, if you pour your emotions out, and if you have that courage, if you muster that courage and talk about that with anyone whom you trust, it actually lightens you a lot. And
But
on the top of it, if somebody can guide you, I think that is right. Yeah.
there is one challenge in this particular process where you want to pour your emotions out, or you want to, share something with someone. Nowadays, it's very difficult to find someone to whom you
Correct.
can trust. It
Absolutely.
is also one of the biggest challenges, now,
It
because
is the biggest, actually.
it is the biggest challenge. But then so I was listening to this podcast and somebody asked the same question, that how you can trust someone, or how you will be able to know that if you are letting your emotions out, if you are, just throwing your emotions with someone, then how can you know that that person will not take advantage of you?
Hmm.
How you will be able
It's
to
a very
understand,
valid question, Piyush.
you know but then the point is, uh, if you are going to keep on thinking like this, you will not be able to find.
Find a person.
Life is, you just cannot find someone, or find something. Whatever you want to find in your life, you cannot find it
Correct.
in one go, in one
Right.
in one attempt. You have to keep finding the right person. And this world is still a good place to live. It's not that
Absolutely.
everybody have become like that.
Even
The
having
only
that
thing
mindset
is,
requires a mindset.
right, exactly. So having this fear of, that people will take advantage of me if I am going to share my emotions, or
Hmm.
if I am going to talk about my dark side, then people will take advantage of me. That this fear also become one of the reasons that people
Roadblocks.
stop expressing themselves
Correct.
against others. So
It is one of
Pritesh,
the fear, in fact. Ritesh
yeah,
is saying
absolutely,
something.
yeah. One of the learnings I have from Psycho Cybernetics, it is a very wonderful book. Let people know you like them, an initial step, but people are so smart, they just keep their liking other people with themselves due to self criticism. I need to read it once again. One of the learning I have from Psycho Cybernetics, let people know
You
you
like them.
like them, an initial step, but people are so smart, they just keep their liking other people with themselves due to self criticism.
I mean, the second line, I could not,
Is even I am not able to understand ki
I'm
what
not able to
exactly
understand,
the
Pritesh, if you
message is.
could elaborate a little bit, but thank you so much for your comment and joining
And
us. I mean,
actually
be a
on
part of this discussion.
Facebook also, there are people, somehow we are not able to see the comments on
Let
Facebook.
me see. Let me
So
see who all have joined on Facebook.
Amit Bhai is there. Thank you so much, Amit Bhai, for joining. Uh, so what we are discussing is, and one of the most important topic which you brought is, and in my book also I have mentioned about that. So before you want to, establish a good relationship with others, first you have to establish a good relationship with your own self.
Absolutely. I
So
think this is
self
what
love, yeah,
very important.
self
And
love
I think
is.
Pritesh is one of the biggest advocate of self-love.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, his video starts with "I love myself." So,
Yeah.
Pritesh, Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Uh, so I mean that's what the point is. Somehow because of the life experiences, because of the upbringing, because of the things which we go through in our life, we stop having. It's like having a good relationship with others is definitely important, but the first foremost priority is having a good relationship with your own self, and where I also face the same challenges. So I have
Agree.
suffered from a severe inferiority complex because of my dark skin, but until unless I realized that it was me only who was not liking myself, it was not about other people.
Hmm.
And I have met a lot of people who told me that Piyush, you are good looking person. Why are you criticizing yourself? Why you are self sabotaging?
Hmm.
Even though I didn't believe, because it was me only who started believing. It was me only who didn't like myself.
Hmm.
So I think the very first point or the very first step is, first you have to love yourself. First you have to establish relationship with your own self. First you have to find your relationship with your own self. So we both are
Piyush,
like,
why should it's a
yeah.
very fundamental topic, and I think we should go deep into this self love. Why should somebody love themselves?
I mean, I will ask you this: why somebody should not love themselves?
No, I understand, but I would like to understand from you because you have suffered an inferiority complex
Hmm.
and you were not loving yourself. Then why did you
Yeah. So
experience this that
I
you
will
should love yourself?
I'll
Because
definitely
it
talk
is going
about
to
this.
help a lot of people. Why should they
Hmm.
love themselves? Like, let's
Right.
start from the why, then we will discuss about how.
Sure, sure. Because this is the root cause of every single problem. That is what I believe, that the only way out is in, and the relationship problem or challenges are also come from this fundamental or the core issue itself. So, so what happen is, so being a child, if you observe a child who is like 7 8 years old, or
Hmm.
who is still having that pure heart, who is still having those pure emotions, they have not reached to that level where they have started comparing themselves with others. I'm talking about that level of childhood where they have
Hmm.
not started, they have started understanding the language, they have started communicating, they have
Hmm.
started expressing themselves, they have started telling their feelings to others, but they have not reached to that level where they have started comparing themselves with others.
Hmm.
That I am like this, my hair are not good,
Hmm.
my skin color is not like that, my clothes are not good,
They are
I
free
don't
from
have
judgment.
this, I don't have this toy, I don't have this, that, but that my friend is having, my brother is having. So I think this starts with that mindset where when we start comparing our life with others, and even I did the same. I have started comparing my skin color. Of course, there were people who were teasing me, but world is like this only. They will tease you. They
Absolutely.
will, there are people, even I have make fun about people who are like fat, or they
Hmm.
are having like other physical problems, or we are like this only. I will not say that I am a very idle person, I have never done like this. And when you are friends, you can take that kind of liberation, like I mean freedom you can take,
Hmm.
that you can crack a joke about someone. Friendship is about that only, but it is up to
Absolutely.
that particular group only.
Hmm. It's
But then
not
if you,
free
yeah,
for
then
everyone.
you start taking that thing in your mind, and then you start comparing with others, that I am the only one who is having dark skin in my entire group of friends. Like there are 10 friends, and I am the only person who is having a dark skin. I'm comparing myself with others. Then I will start having this feeling that I don't have something which everybody have.
Great, and I think Piyush, Pritesh has, on the same line that you're talking about, he has given a very good comment. He's saying that we are living in a compulsion mode where we most of the time recognize other people's expectations rather than our own. So slowly it creates a habit and we forget about loving ourselves. Absolutely. That's
Exactly.
what Piyush is talking about, I think.
Exactly. So that starts from the childhood only, when we start comparing our life with others. Then you
Correct.
that comparison mindset will be there in every stage of your life. It starts from something. Like for me, it started with my skin color, and
Hmm.
then I started comparing my financial conditions with my friends, with my relatives, with my you know then I started comparing my, when I was adult, when I get into college, then I started comparing my two wheeler with others, that I am driving a scooty and that fellow is having a bike, or I am riding a bicycle and that fellow is having a scooter. And that
Hmm.
mode is kept on dragging me, or it keeps you dragging into other comparisons as well.
Hmm.
And then you start having this feeling that you are not good enough.
Hmm.
And then you stop loving yourself, then you stop accepting yourself as it is.
Correct.
And then you start correlating everything, whether it is your failure, or you have expected something from your life but you are not able to achieve it. And then slowly you will start looping everything to that particular thing, that I am lacking something. It is me only who is not good enough. It is
Fantastic.
because of me only everything is not getting you know aligned.
Hmm. Correct. I think you have done justice to the question why somebody should love themselves. And when you talked about your own story of having that, you know, skin color, and then you were bullied, and then how did you develop that self law?
So this is what
Exemplary.
we talked about, that why, how it starts, but then why somebody should love themselves. So see, it's very simple and logical. So everything starts from within. It's not other people, it's not external world. Everything starts from within. So if you
True.
want that other people love you, then first you have to love you. How can you give something which you don't have? It's
You
very
don't.
simple, very logical, very
Correct.
simple yet very powerful. That how can you give something to other person when you don't have? So if you are not
Absolutely.
loving yourself, how you will be able to love other people?
And that's what Bushra is saying. I think she's saying that because if you love yourself, you can find everything beautiful around you, just like yourself. Then it doesn't matter what others thinks about you, and
Exactly.
that's what the feeling is like.
Exactly.
You know, if you value yourself, then you can expect others to value you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, in my book also, I have talked about this. It might be a bit, offending to some of the people, but I have described like this in my book, that don't just watch yourself without clothes, actually, in a mirror, and like that accept yourself. It's just not about
Absolutely.
you are wearing clothes and then you are looking good. Accept the bigger picture is accept yourself as it is, without any external
And
things
and
which
when
are
you're saying
making
that
you
accept
beautiful.
yourself the way it is, it means that whatever scars that you have, whatever
Everything,
vulnerabilities that
everything.
you have to accept as it is. Like, because if
Exactly.
God has made you in a certain way, that's for you, and you should be happy
Absolutely.
with that. You should be grateful for the things that you have within you and around you, and that's how
Absolutely.
you'll be able to express love to yourself. Wonderfully
Absolutely.
answered, Piyush. Really appreciate. Sandeep Marwa. I thought it's Sandeep Maheshwari. Thank you, Sandeep Marwa, for joining. Sandeep is saying super. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Sandeep sir.
Bushra is saying absolutely fine. Thank you so much for guys for joining, because this discussion is actually arousing a lot of emotions in the audience. Last time we noticed that people had tears in their eyes and they confessed right live on the show that they had tears in the eyes, because the kind of intense discussion we were having on relationship was actually arousing a lot of emotions. And today as well, a lot of people are contributing because this topic, relationship, is very very close to people's heart. And the
Absolutely.
reason why we are doing it, because we are encouraging not to ourselves but to others to talk about it. Be free, come here on Life Indeed podcast, discuss about it, show, and if there's something that we can contribute, we would love to do that.
Absolutely.
And it's
I
very
mean,
encouraging. So
that will be the biggest achievement for Life Indeed podcast if we can,
absolutely.
bring that change in people's life, that they start communicating with each other. They start having conversations around the topics where they are not having the conversations. That will be the, I think, biggest achievement for Life Indeed podcast.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to talk about one of my experience. So as Piyush had, the color of his skin was one of the roadblocks, a limiting belief, and in fact, he was bullied for that. So when I was a kid, I would remember. So I was a very bright kid, and I would always secure first position in my classes, and I would be very obsessed about it. And because at times when you feel you are bullied because of you don't have something, but on the other hand, you're bullied because you have something. So it is
Of
also a
course.
fact. It is also a fact. So because of the fact that
Yes.
I was a very bright student, a very less number of people would make a friendship with me.
That's what
Very
I
less number
said.
of
No,
people.
the world is like this only. I mean, you cannot complain that other people are bullying me.
Yeah.
I completely agree that bullying is a very, I mean, very wrong activity. But world is like this only.
Then so
You
I
have
mean,
to be
no matter what you do, no matter
exactly,
what you do, good or bad, there will always be people who will say something about you, positive,
absolutely,
negative. So you need to
absolutely,
know your demeanor. You need to know what is the baseline, and you just work around that and keep moving towards your goal. Because
absolutely.
obviously, people, you cannot stop people's comment. They will always be
Yes,
there. So when I
yes,
was when I was actually studying, I had very very least number of friends, and I would always think about it. There were few people who would have a lot of people around them, who would have a lot of friends, and I would think, what is wrong with me? And this has been going on for a long period of time. I was always thinking that what is wrong with me? Why a lot of people are not coming with me? I was doing so well in studies. I was securing first position. So only there were two, three people who would be with me, and that too for a reason that I would help them. One of the friend was there with me, who was a very very good friend of mine. But I was always thinking until to a point, then I realized that it was my limiting belief. Why other people are not with me? It is their problem. It's not my problem. And if I have something that they don't have, and I mean they're not able to work towards that, so why I'm limiting myself? So I personally feel that, as you talked about, the only way out is in, and we always talk about it. And I think that if we closely watch and perceive our thought and the thinkings that we have, like what we think all day long, why we are thinking the way we are thinking, and we get to the deeper and gain deeper understanding of it, we would always realize that it was not the world, it was myself.
hmm,
So it is very, very relevant and important to understand your limiting belief and transform them and look at the positive side. Because obviously, we are always hardwired to look at the negative side of everything. Whenever something
true,
happens, we always talk about negative, we think negative. Why? And we always, justify our excuses that why it should have not happened to me. But
correct,
our mind will all our mind will never go, like in a first attempt it will never go, okay, thank you, it's okay, I'm thankful to it. I'll give you like example. I was in the hospital last week with my mom, and something actually struck on my head very very far. I mean, I would say there was a huge object which actually struck my head, and I experienced the immense pain in my head. But I said, thanks to God, thanks to Allah, he might have saved me from a bigger pain.
yeah,
And that's the attitude. I mean,
that's what.
earlier I would think that why it is happening with me. Now I think that thanks that God has saved me from a bigger pain.
Absolutely. I mean, see, that is where the problem is. So whatever happens in our life, if something is not happening as per our expectations, what we do is we just start complaining. We just
True.
start, telling, or ultimately we start blaming to God. If there is
People
no
even
other
don't spare
person,
God. That's why my
people
mentor
don't even
says that
spare God.
people
Exactly.
don't even spare God. They abuse God as well. So you're not
Exactly.
even God. You can't even compare
so
yourself
so
with God.
whenever you are blaming, whenever you are, complaining, whenever you are like, telling all these things, ultimately what you are doing is you are getting away from taking the responsibility.
True.
You are making yourself weaker by complaining that this
Hmm.
thing has not happened because of me, this thing has happened because of this and that, and or if nobody is there, then it has happened because of the God.
Absolutely.
So I am keeping myself safe. I am, telling myself, eh, you don't have anything to do with this. You are a good person. It is, everything is happening because of other people. And that's why people says that most of the bad things happen for, with a good person.
Absolutely.
But
And I think
when everybody believe that I am a good person, that who is that bad person?
who's, who's that bad person? Absolutely, and very well said. Thank you, Bushra. Because nobody was worthy to friendship with you, I think so. Uh,
Yes, that
even I
might be
agree
the
with that.
case. Might be the case.
I think Piyush. I think you're breaking a little bit in between because of
Okay,
internet
okay.
issue.
Hmm.
So Piyush, I think there are certain negative emotions which actually hold a lot of people to perform
Hmm.
well in their life. Some days back, I actually shared one of the posts on LinkedIn, and I would like to call it upon. I think these words were said by great Jack Ma. It goes like this: ego prevents you from learning from others. Envy, which actually comparison breeds envy. So with comparison, you get envious actually. So envy
Correct.
prevents you from focusing on yourself. You don't focus yourself when you compare yourself with others because you get envious.
Yes, yes,
And then anger prevents you from
yes.
seeing clearly. When you're angry, you
True.
cannot look at the right perspective. The second
Absolutely
last is
true.
ignorance prevents you from making good decisions. And last one is fear prevents you from seizing good opportunities. So ego, envy, anger, ignorance, and fear. How beautiful is that? So I think Jack Ma
So I
has
mean,
actually done justice.
absolutely. I mean, in a relationship also, if you can, control all this three, four things which Jack Ma has described. So I mean, you can have a beautiful relationship. Just stop. You just have to do one thing. Stop having expectations. Or if you are having
Correct.
expectations, don't believe that every expectations will be fulfilled.
Fulfilled.
I'm not saying that expectations should not have any expectations. If you are having relationship, then having expectation is very much natural. But don't believe that every expectations will be fulfilled,
Absolutely. Piyush,
because other person is also having a different kind of, you know,
absolutely.
life experiences in their life. Yeah, yeah,
Correct.
Tosif.
I just wanted to talk about one of the fundamental, I would say, ingredient, or you might call it as a demeanor of having a great relationship, and that is trust. So I would like to talk about, show some light onto this, like how can somebody have trust on other, and how to trust someone, how to build a long lasting trust, because as we all know that trust is one of the significant part of having a great relationships. So what do you think, Piyush, that what role trust play in having a great relationship, and how can somebody build it?
I think trust is the most important, factor in any kind of relationship, whether it's your personal relationship with your friends, relatives, or whether it's your professional relationship with your colleagues, with your customers. Without trust, I don't think so that any relationship
Hmm.
can sustain. So
True.
trust is something like, I I can say it's like a soil. I always give this analogy when it comes to relationship. So relationship is nothing but like sowing a seed into the soil. Now put the
Hmm.
seed in the soil.
Water it
Now
and
you have to water it. You have to give like sunlight, and the most important thing is you have to trust that something will come out.
have patience and trust.
And to have and to wait, you have to have that trust. If you are not trusting someone, then you are impatient. So within two
Absolutely.
three days, if something is not happening, then you will take out that seed. You will feel that
True.
nothing is going to come out from this. And I think same thing happens with every single relationship as well.
And
That
trust
you
also comes
try,
with times.
exactly, you try to do something, you try to do one thing, two things, like you try to call, you try to message, you try to meet, and if doesn't happen in two three meetings only, then you stop, you give up, you stop putting
Absolutely.
the efforts.
Right.
So to
And
develop a
and one of
trust,
the
yeah,
one of the reason, Piyush, why people actually uh, nip everything in the bud is because they judge.
the
If
judge.
for example, take our own example. Like, we have been connected with each other for 3 years, and we know each other well. We know, like, we respect everybody's privacy. And imagine a situation that, I had a first conversation with you. If I would have judged, oh my god, why is this, somebody is actually coaching me, he's sharing his knowledge, I know, I if I had ego and I have stopped myself, I did could have not trusted you, we would have not come,
Absolute.
this way long.
Absolute.
And I think
You have to give time.
one of the roadblocks is that, people judge. If someone has not gone along with their expectation, they think that they are not trustworthy.
That's
I
what the
think
point is.
one of the main fundamental part of building a relationship and actually nurturing trust is to give space to somebody, give their own time,
Exactly.
and let's see how they respond, because at times things may not come as early as quickly as you expect. It might take their own sweet of time, as you gave an example of sowing a seed and then trusting the process, because obviously certain things takes time. So I think trust also comes and develops with time. You can't be very naggy, and you can't be very, like, have a snap judgments about somebody's situation, because you don't know them. You don't even understand what is their situation.
Absolutely.
So I think
Absolutely.
it's very important.
I mean, we can take example. It's just not about humans. Like if somebody is having a pet in their
Yeah,
family, like you bring a small dog in your family, then also you have to give him some time. You have to trust that that dog will not bite you.
absolutely. It's
You have
it's
to
a very
put your
fundamental.
hand. You have to put your hand into his mouth, and you have to give that chance that that dog will not bite you. It's okay, at the starting of the relationship, that dog might bite you, but
But then
then
later you'll
also,
understand.
exactly. And it,
And
it
I
is
think
same with every kind of relationship. It's
every
just we are
relation.
not. And as you gave our relationship example as well, so just imagine, we had lot of situations where we could have judged each other.
Absolutely.
In fact, in the journey of life in the
Up and
podcast
felt
also.
felt a lot of disagreement, but it is, I mean,
Absolutely.
later on it's always having an understanding and
Yes,
giving space and understanding the real point of view behind what the other person is saying.
exactly. The bigger
At
picture.
times I felt that what Piyush is saying, it does not make sense to me, but I gave time to myself. Later on, the thought comes in mind.
Same
Okay,
thing
this is
happened
the
with
reason
me
of
as
this.
well. Yeah, same thing happened with me as well. Even we had like arguments as well sometimes.
Absolutely,
And it's good to have arguments, because if you are accepting everything as it is also not good. So when we are saying that you have to
absolutely,
accept everything as it is, it's we are not saying that you don't have to argue with each other, or you don't have to get into the conversation. You have to
absolutely,
have conversation, you have to argue, but
definitely,
then you have to keep that bigger picture in your mind, that whether I want this person in my life or not. That
absolutely
is the
correct.
question. That is the question you have to answer
And
every
then see
time.
that we have been so much transparent that we are even talking about our our relationship. So guys, I
Hmm.
mean, it's very important. Like we don't hide anything from our audience. Like whatever happens with us, like whatever is happening between ourselves, what how we are doing, what we are doing, we always talk very transparently about that. But
So it's
you
a
will not
very
find people talking
beautiful,
about it.
beautiful one liner for a relationship, that if you want to build a good relationship, a beautiful relationship, you have to learn that how you can agree to disagree.
Absolutely. It's a very, very thin line, but it makes a lot of super sense.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can apply this thing any relationship, then your relationship will never get affected. So Tosif, before I
Hmm.
forget, I want to bring this point. Do you have something to share, or
No, no, I just wanted to say that in our relationship, I think apart from trust, so I would like to talk about two, three things. So I would come back to you, Piyush. But after trust, I think if you trust someone, it is very important to express that and in
yes,
some
very
words.
very
So I
important,
think communication plays a very vital role.
very
Even if I
important.
love you, I can say it in 10 different ways. And the way I say
Yes,
I love you makes a lot of difference. So if you
absolutely,
don't know how to
absolutely.
communicate, even if you trust someone, but and this is what happens when I, there have been a lot of time that I was not able to express myself with my mom and my parents. But having that understanding, like it's not only sufficient to trust someone. You need to express it. Even if you trust someone, if you even if you
Very
don't love
important,
someone, but if you don't tell it, if you don't express it,
very very
and if you don't
important,
communicate it, then it's all in vain. So
very
communication
important.
is very fundamental part after trust. So what do you think? How much it is important to have a good communication when
So
it comes
my
to having
point,
a relationship?
the point which I wanted to raise is also connected to this thing only,
Hmm.
that communication. So why communication is important in relationship? The biggest example I can give you is, why do we have a very good relationship with our friends?
Yeah, it is because we are
We
open
have a
with them.
completely different level of
Hmm.
relationship with our friends. Why do we not share the same kind of relationship with our siblings, with our cousins? Because in friendship,
Hmm.
the very fundamental thing is we don't judge each other
Judge each other.
very easily. I'm talking about the relationship where you
Hmm.
are ready to give up everything. I'm talking about that kind of
Hmm.
relationships. Unfortunately, nowadays it's very rare to find
It's very rare.
that kind of relationships. But the friendship which we, and beautiful thing is, friendship is a relationship which we choose. It's not which is imposed upon
Hmm.
us.
True.
you know like parents, or like your siblings, like your cousins. So friendship is a relationship where you choose a relationship with someone. So
Absolutely.
then why in friendship the trust level is different? Because we talk a lot, we communicate easily. And
True.
why do we communicate, why do we express ourselves easily? Because we don't judge each other. And then
Absolutely.
we give time, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So I am having, like, I'm so much blessed to have like 10 to 12 friends with whom I am like there with my fourth standard. Just imagine,
Hmm. It's a
like
very,
from fourth standard, I know
I mean,
there
it's
are
very
people,
rare, Piyush,
friends.
because if I talk about myself, fourth standard friend, I think one or two. That too very rarely, because I have changed so many schools and I've changed so many locations in my life that there are very very limited number of people that are connected
So
with me.
fortunately, I am born and brought up in Surat only.
Hmm.
My schooling, my, so
I've been
even though
everywhere.
we were able to maintain our relationship because of, we spent a lot of time. We
Time. Correct.
till date also, sometimes we have this get-togethers with our wives and everything. But then also we are like, when we are friends together, we just get aside and we just start talking about our old things, and we our
uh,
wives
and
complain
it's
a
a very
lot.
nice feeling. It's a
And
very
our
nice
wives
feeling.
complain a lot that you guys, why do you bring us in your party or
uh,
in your get together when
mhm.
you just want to talk with each other? But we are like this only. we
This is
we
what
we
this is who we are.
and because we have spent a lot of time with each other, we have talked a lot of things with each other, we know each other from within, that how this person is, how
वो
this
कहते
person is
नहीं कि
going to react.
किसी की वो हमारे जो फ्रेंड्स होते हैं वो हमारी अच्छाइयों से ज्यादा बुराइयों को समझते हैं। वो उन्हें सब पता होता है कहीं ना कहीं।
That's what the point is, you know. So I think the level of conversations, the level
हम्म।
of communication happens in friendship. I will not say the same level of communications or conversation should also happen in other relationships as well, because every relationship have their own dynamics. But
एब्सोल्युटली।
it should not happen that you don't even communicate anything. So communication play a very major role in every types of relationships, even
एब्सोल्युटली।
the relationship with your customers also, you know. So in my
In fact,
previous company,
that is the
this is
reason
what.
people are taught communication.
Yes, that's what, you know. In my previous company, my director of my company, he is a very busy person, definitely, but still he used to take some time to meet customers at, you know, one-on-one level.
हम्म।
Every 3 months or every 6 months, he used to travel to Surat or to other cities where he meet their our customers one to one.
हम्म।
It is so much important.
This
And
is very important.
I observed that process, the power of that communication, the power
हम्म।
of those conversations where
हम्म।
we don't even talk about business. It's just about like having like some snacks or tea, having coffee together, 1 or 2 hours ka session, that's it.
And I think you know that is the reason in even in corporate a lot of leaders encourage informal communication more than
Yes,
formal communication.
very
And
true.
I think I have shared this example more often. Even on some time back I shared this example on Clubhouse. The importance of communication and open communication. So there was a guy in my team. I'll just take 1 minute to explain this.
Yeah,
He was
please.
he was he actually came to my team because he was not performing in other team and he had some issues with the other manager. He came to my team. He performed really well for a month, and then he stopped performing. And for 2 3 months, he did not perform at all. I had several meetings with him, several one-on-one coachings. I have done everything what I could do, practically possible to coach him, to give him guidance, everything. But he still did not perform. And one fine day, I said I will try something new. And I said, "Can you come on a break with me on a coffee?" He was surprised because he said that, how come in the world Tausif is saying to come on a coffee, he doesn't even, go on a break, he doesn't smoke, he's a very nice and clean and neat guy. So I said, come on a break, we'll have a coffee. So I took him to Coffee Day, the Italian brand, and we sat on a chair, and I said, Is everything going on fine with your family?" He said, "Everything is fine, सब कुछ ठीक है." तो मैंने कहा, यार, I want to be very open with you and understand I have done everything, and maybe I might be wrong somewhere. So would you be able to please tell me that what is stopping you to perform? And do you know what he said? He said, "Tosif, you are the person who's actually stopping me to perform." And I
Wow.
was actually surprised. I didn't even understand that how am I in the world stopping him to perform? And I said that, would you please explain? He said that, Tosif, and he actually confessed this. He said that I take ganja
Oh,
every after 2 hours, and I'm addicted to it. And if you don't give me extra breaks, I don't get an opportunity to do that, and I don't know how do I feel from inside. I'm not able to give my best to it. So you don't give me
wow.
you only give me the designated break. You only give me the break that that process says, and not more than 1 hour. So is it possible for you to get the production hour from someone else and give me like half an hour extra break? I will do something that nobody else can do in the team. I said, it's fine. It's a bad habit, but what can I do? I'm not. You basically contact anybody who can help you with this. He said that I'm trying to do it, but at the moment I need this help. I said, okay, fine, take it. From next day onward, I said, do however you want to manage things. I would not stop you. And he has performed. He came 90 days regular. Even he did not even take a leave, and he was a top performer in my team. Imagine that if I would have not had this open conversation, open and honest conversation, if I would have not shown myself as inferior in front of him, accepting that I may be wrong somewhere, that person would have not opened up. That person would have not even shared that you are my problem.
True.
So at times, having communication, like having this open and honest conversation, and trying to understand, trying to genuinely find out the reason helps, and it is applicable in all kind of relationship. And that
True.
conversation actually taught me that no matter what kind of a relationship you are in, you need to be honest and you need to be
Absolutely.
authentic. And if you show
Absolutely.
that side of you, it will always be helpful for you.
I mean, you see, this is also a very major problem, which we already discussed, that it is very difficult to find someone to whom you can trust, with whom you can get open.
Yeah,
Because, nowadays you will find that a lot of people will start taking advantage of your dark sides, because that person trusted you, because that person, or you must have that kind of image, that he was able to express himself. Because I don't think so somebody can talk about something like this very openly.
something like this, very open. It's very
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah. and
So
and
understand, like 2 month, I've been talking to him 2 month, and that was a very
yes,
formal setup,
it's
meeting group.
difficult, it's
It was
difficult,
very difficult.
see, where people are not even talking about their small things, then this is something which is something very big and very dark as well. Then how can we expect that somebody will get open up in the first ever meeting itself? So you have to give yourself time. That's what the point is. I think this is where we can sum up our 1 hour as well, that if you want to build a good relationship, building a trust takes time. You have to accept
Absolutely.
other person as it is, have communication, talk with those people, like have a cup of coffee, or go out, go for a long drive. I heard this somewhere, that if you want to know a person, travel with him.
Oh, that's.
you
I
know
heard it for the first time, Piyush.
yeah, and it is so, I mean, full of wisdom, and it is so much profound, that when you are traveling with
Hmm.
someone, you actually get to know that person.
How he behave in different situations, because obviously you are spending
Yes.
time with him, and
And
you are
traveling is so
actually
much
looking
so
at
much
everything. Yeah.
dynamic process, where you are
Hmm.
not comfortable, where you are going through a lot of different types of situations.
Hmm.
Sometimes, let's say you are going by a flight and your flight get delayed, then you can observe that how that person is behaving in this kind of situation.
Absolutely, and
and
I
and
think.
fr- yes, and frankly speaking, traveling has played a very big role in my personal development as well. And because of the sales job, I used to
Hmm.
travel a lot.
You discussed about it, yeah.
So travel, like, if you want to build a good relationship, spend some time, go out, go
Absolutely,
for a long drive, go for a 1 day 2 days ka holiday, take a break.
definitely.
I mean, somewhere you have to become, and self awareness also play a very big role. Because I observe a lot of people who don't even realize that something wrong is going on in their relationships.
Hmm.
We
Absolutely.
we we, we take we take on granted so many
We
things,
take
and
things for granted, actually.
unfortunately, good relationships are the first things which we start taking on granted.
Because we feel that we become very casual about it, and we feel that even if we don't pay our attention, we don't give our attention, we don't invest time, it will remain the way it is. And that
Yes.
is one of our biggest mistake, that may cause us to pay.
Yes, and imagine, I mean, uh, if you are not talking to someone, if you are not building that relationship, unfortunately, our life is so much volatile. Just imagine tomorrow something happened to you or to, we will never expect this, or we will never imagine this, but life is so much volatile. If something is happened to you, if something happened to your loved ones, then you will have to live with that regret, which will be much more dangerous than any other
Then,
poison in this world. You will not
absolutely
be able to take that pain.
true.
And I have seen people in my personal life as well. I have seen people who are regretting that I could have talked these things to my
Hmm.
father, I could have expressed
Hmm.
myself to my mother, I could have said I love you to this particular person.
Absolutely. And that is the reason that you should always forgive people around you.
Absolutely,
It
absolutely.
would happen a lot of time that people, x number of people would hurt you, would cheat you, or would may deceive you, but it is always good to forgive them, because they are not
Yes,
their feelings. They are not their
absolutely.
what it is their attribute which actually makes them good or bad.
True.
One of my manager in corporate, he always say that, Tosif, if somebody is not doing good, okay, it's fine. Don't actually misbehave with them, because
Yes,
people are never good or bad. It is their attribute.
yes,
He always used to
yes.
say it is their attribute which makes them good or bad, and
Absolutely.
attributes can be changed.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you don't know that why somebody is behaving in such a manner. You don't know the exact reasons.
But
So I
having that
think
self awareness requires up,
requires
continuous
you have to know
exercise,
yourself.
understanding.
You have to know yourself. So I think
Absolutely.
we can sum up at this level that it all starts from within. First, you have to establish that good relationship with your own self, and once you will be able to build that good relationship with your own self, you will be able to understand a lot of things. The If you want to stop judging other people, first you have to stop judging yourself. If you
True.
want to love other person, you have to start loving yourself. you know
Absolutely.
Everything starts from within. So if every good relationship, every beautiful relationship starts from within, if you are not good from within, you will not be able to do anything good with others as well.
Absolutely fine. And then we had a request of doing a one podcast in Hindi on relationship. We would
Yes,
definitely do that. We will keep this in our mind, and probably, if possible, we would love to call Nasru only
yes,
in the
yes.
upcoming shows, and we would love to do it
Why
Hindi,
not?
because a couple of people messaged me that you know they had some family members and they liked the podcast, but they could not understand, because obviously they cannot translate everything in Hindi. So we would love to do that in Hindi,
Sure.
and we will talk about those aspects which might be happening with you, or which might cure it. So we would love to talk about that. And final,
Absolutely.
thank you to everyone, to all
Thank
the
you
people
so
who
much,
constantly
guys.
join us, show their support. I think that's what actually keep us motivated and inspired, because we
Yes.
always come and show up every week, just to make sure that we are able to share our experience, and that can make changes and might change somebody's life as well. So
True.
that's the intent behind it. And we would love to see you in our next upcoming episode, which is going to be 36th. And very soon, we are going to invite some of the very brilliant minds in our upcoming shows. And just stay tuned and keep
And
in touch. We would love to meet you.
yes, and to our audience who are watching right now or who are going to watch in future, you can also please help us with some of the topics where
Yeah,
you want us to have this kind of conversations, or you can also suggest the kind of people to whom you want us to bring into onto this platform. If you have a name in your mind, or if you have someone in your personal network, you can suggest them as well. We would love to invite them. We would love to talk about their life experiences on this Life Indeed podcast. So please help us with all these things. And once again, thanks a lot for watching today's episode and spending your valuable time with us. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
everyone.
guys.
Thanks a lot.